The Secrets of Technology is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit givestarquest.com. Hi, I'm Dom Bettinelli, and you're listening to The Secrets of Technology, where we discuss the technology news that's important to you from a uniquely Catholic point of view. Joining me today on the panel are Father Joseph Sund. Hey, Father.
Good to be with you.
You're so tanned, Father, apparently. Father just came back from retreat in warmer climes. And Tom Grelinger. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Dom. Glad to be back.
You've been in your basement, apparently. He is not that pale, folks. I'm just kidding.
No, just fighting tornadoes.
Yes, just fighting. We were talking about the scariness of tornadoes. As a Northeasterner, I find tornadoes very scary. But blizzards and hurricanes are nah. So that's not what we're talking about this time. Although weather has been a topic before and will be a topic again on this weather technology. But tonight we're talking about this time. It's night for us, but whenever you're listening right now, the topic is AI second opinions and having an AI second opinion workflow. What does that mean? So we've been talking about AI a lot on the show recently, and some folks might go, why are you talking about AI so much? Well, it's no surprise. It's the biggest topic in technology right now. It is huge because lots of people are excited about the potential of having artificial intelligence assistants in various areas of life. A lot of people are worried about the potential of artificial intelligence assistants in various areas of life. And it's a new and powerful tool that we're still figuring out how to use safely. And the analogy I came up with was, imagine if an alien race came along and dropped a powerful new programmable matter tool. Like it's just programmable matter is something you could just turn into anything. It's the ultimate 3D printer. You just reprogram it and it becomes whatever you want. Imagine all the good it could do. Imagine all the evil it could do. So it's kind of like that. AI is neither good nor evil, despite what some people think. It's always aliens, right? Or always demons. In this case, it's neither good nor evil. It's a tool, and it can be used for good or for ill. And so we're on this show working out how do we make sure we use these tools for good and not for bad. So that's the main reason we've been talking about it. So what we're talking about this time is AI at this current stage of its development. You know, if you listen to the show in a year, 2 years, 3 years, this might be completely different. Maybe not, but it might be completely different. But right now, at this current stage of development, it's great when it's not wrong. AI is so much better than it was a year or two ago when it hallucinated all the time. It's better now than it was, but it still has this habit of it's trying to please you. It's trying its hardest to do what you've asked it to do. And when it can't do the thing, it doesn't have the information or whatever, it will make it up for you because that'll make you happy, right? You want me to tell you all about this thing. I don't know about this thing, but I'll tell you all about it if I make up a story. And that's the problem. So it's really great when it's reliable, but you never know really when it is being unreliable. Is that fair to you guys? Is that your experience?
Yeah, I think I would say so. I mean, I have multiple examples. I mean, it's something that in my workplace, it is heavily pushed now as a way to improve productivity. And I found various uses for it. And sometimes, as I was going to talk about later, I have examples of where it just went seriously wrong. They gave me something that didn't work. And in other cases, I mean, before today's recording, I was getting curious about, okay, where is Boeing? When is it going to ship its new fancy jets? And I can probably reasonably rely on it, but am I someone who's going to make decisions based on that? No.
Right.
So, and I think that's an important key here is if you're going to make decisions about it or you're going to write an essay for school, you better make sure that you check your sources and so forth. And I know we'll get into that.
Yeah. How important is the results to whatever it is you're doing? Is it just informational or are you relying on it for something important? That's a good consideration. Father, what about you? What do you think of AI at the moment?
I rely on it quite a bit, but like you're saying, as a second opinion, as we're going about it. As you said, I was in a better climate than Nebraska. I was actually down in Florida, and in that area, I used Grok for a lot of my what are some fun things to do today? And it was excellent. I was able to give it the information that, like, hey, during these last few days, I want to completely avoid spring breakers. So what should I do today? And
that'll be good.
It gave me some good options of beaches to go to that weren't going to be heavily populated. Of course, it's going through like Google Map reviews and things like that. And I don't have to go through all the information. It goes through it for me and gives me a good recommendation.
One thing I use AI for a lot right now, I've used it for a bunch of different things, but one thing I use for it in the family life is we do a weekly meal plan. And so we have a database called, it's a software called Paprika, which has all of our recipes in it. And in the recipe, it has a record of when we've made what meals for going back a couple of years. Like we always, put it in Paprika for our meal planning. And so I've connected Claude to Paprika, and now every week I have it, and I've told it my family's allergies, preferences for different kinds of food. I've told it, look at the weather. If it's going to be a cold or rainy day, favor certain kinds of food. If it's a sunny summer day, think about grilling. Don't do this kind of food too often. Fridays, give us fish, like that, or non-meat dishes. And every week it gives me a list, and I don't ever use exactly what it gives me, but it's great. It says, hey, this is a dish you made 2 years ago. You haven't made it in a while. I'm like, oh, you're right. I would like to have that again. And so it's a low stakes problem that it's solving for me. So not a big deal. I'm happy with what it's doing. But people are often using AI now to write email, answer questions of important things like theological nature, maybe even medical questions, to explain the teaching of the church on this, or explain why does God do this, and or to summarize what's going on in the world. Tell me about what's going on in Iran. I don't understand. What are the issues involved? And the problem is, like I said, is that AI it's always confident. When it answers, it is never unsure. As it comes out of the box, let's say, you can tell it to always double check and tell me when you're not sure. That's one of the things we can talk about as we go along. But out of the box, it's always supremely confident in itself until you challenge it, at which point it will say, oh, you're right. I was wrong on that. Like, well, duh. Maybe you should have checked that before I asked. So it always feels confident. It always feels authoritative. It's fast, and we're often tired. We're busy. We don't have, we're racing to the next thing. We're trying to get stuff done, and I don't have time to think about it. And that's the danger. That it's not that AI is lying to us. That implies it's intentionally misleading. It's just that it speaks without accountability. It is able to say, quote unquote, or type things without having to be accountable for being wrong. And that's a big part of it.
That's fair. Yep.
Yeah. So what do we do about this? Well, we can still use the tool. There's still valuable tools. And so we just need to redefine where AI sits in our toolbox. It's not an authority. It's an assistant. Okay. It's there to help us. So you have to understand how AI works. AI is like a really sophisticated autocorrect tool. The predictive text, when you type it on your phone and it's like predicting which of these 3 words are the next word you're going to type. And it's essentially doing that on a really sophisticated scale, which is like, how could that be? But I don't understand it. It's really super complicated.
It is complicated, Tom.
Yeah.
I've taken some training on it, and it's like, okay, my eyes start to glaze over. Tokens and predictions and this p-value, and it quickly gets into the weeds very, very, very quickly.
It's a lot of math and statistical math, really. Yeah.
Right.
I think the important thing, though, is to know that it's not intelligent.
Right.
It's mathematical probability and all of those things. And so it's the intelligence of the programmers who made it that is allowing its intelligence, right? A calculator wasn't intelligent without the engineer that made the calculator, right? All those things are needed. And so, just that understanding it's not something magical.
Right.
But also the understanding that as a recovering programmer, there are errors in code no matter what. Right.
And now they have them writing their own code, which is the whole other thing. But like you said, like they're not intelligent. Like it's just like, with the calculator, the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park weren't real. They just only looked real. And if you think about it that way, it's kind of the same thing. They've created this amazing program. Those dinosaurs were just computer programs, essentially. They've created this amazing program with a simulation of life, a simulation of intelligence to it. And that's what we have. And so, I don't think we'll ever have what they call artificial general intelligence, where we'll have actual conscious computers and, AIs. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But in the meantime, these are just very sophisticated predictive machines, very sophisticated, extremely, amazingly wonderful, miraculous, but they're just predictive machines. They don't know anything. They don't know the truth. In fact, in some ways, they know less than the basic Google search of a couple of years ago. A Google search was just an index of the internet, and you would look up words for you. It doesn't know things, but it is able to piece things together. Every computer scientist out there who knows anything about this is tearing their hair out right now as they describe this, but I'm trying to do my best to explain it at this level.
One good measure of it is often if I am to search a theological question on AI, which is kind of my way of testing how good AI has gotten. If it's getting theological nuances, especially in the areas of like canon law,
right,
correct, then it's good. But what happens is I'll Google that same canon law question. So let's say I'm asking about eating meat on a certain feast day of an Irish saint that's coming up. I don't think it falls on Friday this time, but
no, it's a Wednesday.
No, it doesn't.
It's a Wednesday. But when it does, if I were to search that, it could get it wrong. But if I go to the Reddit Catholicism section, a large amount of what ChatGPT or Grok or what Grab Your One, right, is giving me information is coming right from Reddit.
Right. Reddit or, basically Reddit or Stack Overflow if it's a programming question, or like all of these forums where people have talked about it. Experts usually have talked about things. It may pull from Catholic.com, but then it doesn't have the intelligence to weigh the difference between the comment that Joe Catholic in the pew made who got it completely wrong versus, Jimmy Aiken makes a reply and says, "You're completely wrong on this. This is correct." And it doesn't know how to weigh the truth value of those versus reality. Exactly. So, and that's the thing. And so AIs, they cannot bear responsibility for what they do because they're just they're dumb machines that look very intelligent. They do what they're programmed to do. They're just machines. Whereas humans, we are given our faculties by God, our intelligence to discern, to verify, and that makes us morally accountable for the things we do with what we know and what we learn and what we are given. We become morally accountable for that. And thus authority belongs to people, not to systems. Right.
Unfortunately, I mean, one thing other than one outlier case, I mean, even the courts have recognized that with the vast volume of AI generated music or books or other things. It's where does the copyright lie? Does it lie with a AI or does it lie with the creator?
The prompter.
With the person.
Yeah.
Yes, with the prompter. Yes.
Right.
So it lies with that person, not the AI itself.
Right. The AI is just a machine, just like a synthesizer or, a keyboard or guitar.
Or as you and Jimmy say, it's just a toaster.
It's just a toaster. Very sophisticated toaster. So that brings us to the meat of what we want to talk about, which is the second opinion workflow. And what that means is the more important the subject, the more important it is that we check the AI, get a second opinion on what it tells us. And so there's a series of steps that you want to go through. The first step is, you've asked it for information. You asked it a theological question. So the first thing you say is, well, what are your sources for that? And, cite them. Okay, list your primary references, you could say too. It's immediate red flag if it can't even give you one. If it can't offer you a link, or at least it should give you a link, but at least a book or something. The next step is to cross-check that claim, to go look that up. Don't just accept it at face value. Pick one factual assertion and then verify it manually on your own. Just start with one. And if one thing is wrong, your trust should drop in the trust in what else is there. I was just seeing online just today, someone was saying I had an AI do this thing for me, and it cited one of the doctors of the church, Ignatius of Antioch, I think it was something like that. And I said, I don't remember that from Ignatius. And they were an expert in this field. Where is that in Ignatius of Antioch? Oh, and it cited this work. I've never heard of that work. Where is that work? It made it up out of whole cloth, just completely with citations, internal references, like the whole 9 yards. No, that's not right. Where is that actually? And then it would, oh, I'm sorry, you're right to question that. I was wrong. Here's where that actually is. And like it keeps, it kept getting it wrong until finally it says, I know you're frustrated. And it's like, you don't know anything. That's one of the things that bugs me was when it pretends to be human.
Yeah. Well, Dom, it gets pretty serious. I remember when late 2023 is when ChatGPT really hit the news and people started using it and lawyers started using it. And it was inevitable. There was going to be a brief submitted that cited completely hallucinated cases. And the thing is, even in 2026, what do I still hear happening about?
Yeah.
Lawyers or paralegals using AI to generate briefs and citing nonsensical sources.
Right.
And it's a mess when they do that. And if it's a problem in the law, it's a problem in a lot of different places.
The law, especially, they should be double checking. That's a detail oriented profession. It should be.
I've often had the image of AI when I challenge it of it being like Cliff Clavins. That it doubles Cheers. Down yeah. And then you challenge it more and then all of a sudden it just, yeah.
I want a John Ratzenberger AI. Well, it's a little known fact that I would pay good money for that. I think AIs need to be given like personalities. I think it would be totally awesome. So that was step 2. Cross-check one of the claims. Step 3, ask it for counter arguments. Well, what would critics say against this? What are the weaknesses in your answer? And, because if it's true, it should survive scrutiny. It should, and that's an excellent way to get it to break down what it's saying to you, what it's offered to you. Like that's a way of double checking against what it gave you. Have it challenge itself. That's a big one. And then step 4, ask about uncertainties. So, you could say, what is unclear or debated about this? What is the controversies that are known about this topic? And if it offers honest uncertainty, that's a good sign. So you have to consider the amount of data that's available to train on. If very little data available means more hallucinations. And Tom, you had something to offer about that.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. I had asked one of them a question about I needed to quickly script something, and it's an esoteric tool, and not a lot of people are familiar with it, and it becomes less so. It's sort of what COBOL was in the early 2000s is kind of the tool that I use, and it just gave me, even just to assign something to a variable, it gave me the wrong syntax for it. And I'm like, okay, come on. But then when I asked it, okay, generate a PowerShell. I'm like, start looking it over. I'm like, okay, that's a better, it knows about PowerShell. It knows about JavaScript. It's going to know more with more data. It's when it doesn't have enough data, it will start to make things up.
Mm-hmm. I've used it with Python, and it will use old versions of Python of things that I know are things that haven't been allowed since I studied it.
Right.
Right.
Stuff that's
you're
been
like,
deprecated. Yeah.
I'm like, that's been deprecated for 20 years.
Right. I often have it like create scripts for me or try to do things in it. Like I was trying to get it to get my tasks out of OmniFocus, and it uses AppleScript for that. And it kept not getting it was pulling out old things that were no longer, they had been completed. Stop giving me stuff that's been completed. I'm telling you, only give me available stuff. Oh yeah, there's an error in my AppleScript. It needs to be a flat file, or it kept going through all these different things, and it's like I had to keep pushing it, go like dig deeper, make it better. I didn't want to settle for just good, I just can't do it. AppleScript it should be good at such a thing because there's enough documentation on the internet. But sometimes you wanted to do something that's a bit esoteric, like OmniFocus AppleScripting. And that's a whole nother ball of wax. Like you said, there's not as much out there about that. One of the upcoming issues is they're trained on the internet. Like you said, Father, Reddit famously licensed the Reddit database to the various AI companies so that they could, train their models on it. But as time goes on, more and more of the content that's out there on the internet will have been produced by AIs, and much of it will be junk because people aren't doing what we're talking about here is testing it, pushing it, making sure it's not AI slop, making sure it's good. And so if these AI companies can't figure out how to deal with this, it's just going to make the corpus of test material worse and worse. That's going to make the AIs more and more prone to this hallucinating because they've been trained on hallucinations. So it's something to keep in mind. All right. So we asked about uncertainty. The final step, of course, is human judgment, your judgment. You have to make a decision. Do I trust this? Should I cite this? Do I act on whatever it is that I've asked it about? AI can draft a map for you. Essentially, think of it like making a map, but you're the one who has to choose the road. You're the one who has to drive it. And so that's why you have to take responsibility for second guessing, getting a second opinion about what the AI is telling you.
Yeah, and I think one of the important things is that, as I was thinking about this topic earlier before we recorded, is what was the word that I really wanted to use, or two words that I really wanted to use: wisdom and experience.
Right.
And it's making me realize that we panelists didn't have these tools growing up or in school. They're coming to us later in life. So when we look at our children, and I know Father doesn't have children in the literal sense, but he has students that he works with, is that we have to teach them how to do this. It does not come naturally. We're used to being fed bad links by Google and others,
right?
Because SEO has totally messed it up. And that was one of the things I was going to say, is that one of the reasons these LLMs are so popular is because they tend to appear authoritative, and they give you hopefully a better answer than the SEO slop, as I will call it,
right.
That's out there.
Things weren't perfect before, that's for sure. Yeah.
Right. And we teach in school today, I assume we teach in school today, okay, when you Google something, what are the best links to look for? Mm-hmm. And at this point, we need to be teaching what are the best prompts to be using, and to analyze what those prompts bring back to you, whether it's with ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, or whichever one you're using.
The big struggle right now with, I work with junior high kids right now. Seventh graders is my teaching. A large amount of things that form their opinions is by AI, but they don't know it's by AI. Mm-hmm. And specifically, I'm getting into their TikTok and their Instagram Reels and all of that. And the number of times I've had the discussion over a topic, usually a politically loaded topic, and ask the question, where did you hear that? And they say, TikTok. You're like, well, let's fact check that a little bit against reality. Right. I won't go into the details of things but it's, it happens a lot. And so, yes, if I'm entering the prompt, it's easy for me to go, okay, I know it's AI in front of me and I know it can be wrong. But what about when I don't know and can't tell
that it's AI
doing that?
This is becoming more an issue with photos, images, and video. I'm seeing a lot more video that's AI generated that is it's not the slop that was even 3 months ago. It's very convincing. I just saw like someone today, oh, look at this amazing sculpture. This person made a sculpture of Jesus out of palm leaves or something. And it's like, did you notice that the 10 seconds in when the sculpture of Jesus blinked? I think that's AI. I don't think that's real.
There's a Catholic Christian artist, Lauren Daigle, and she posted something that people have been asking for money in her name for, like, the real charities that she supports and does. Yeah. But putting up random, like,
junky
Venmo links and whatever, right? That it was scams. But I found some of the videos that were, quote, her asking for money. And if you didn't know what to look for,
right,
it's pretty convincing.
Right. The AI companies need to, especially with the videos and images, need to do a better job of embedding metadata. And I mean, even that's not safe because there will be tools outside the commercial companies that will be out there. The scammers will build the tools that without this, but they need to be some kind of watermarking in the mainstream stuff anyway. So one thing that, sort of as a philosophical issue here about truth versus plausibility. So AI optimizes for plausibility, coherence, and tone. And so plausibility is not the same thing as true. Something that's plausible sounds true. That sounds like that could be right. People do this all the time. They quote things that sound plausible, but they don't know that it's true. That there's a moral responsibility for us as well as people. But truth requires that the information, the data, corresponds with reality, evidence, and accountability. Think of those three things. So the truth requires that the data connect with reality. It has to be real. It has to have evidence that you can prove it, and someone has to be accountable for it. So the danger is that we begin to treat like, oh, that sounds right enough, as the same as that is right. That's not the same thing. In fact, I see this all the time on social media where people will share things like what does it hurt to share something? There's a thing going around right now about on Facebook about, as seen on CBS News, you have to post this notice, or Facebook will be able to use all. I've seen this sort of notice. Facebook will be able to take all your photos. I've seen this notice for 15 years going around, and when I challenge people, like, well, it could be true, and what does it hurt to share it? No one gets hurt. Well, what gets hurt is you erode people's trust. You erode the general consensus about how we trust things. And when you start to trust things just because, well, it sounds like it could be true, but is it true? That's the question we should be asking. And by
the way, if you post something on a public forum, on a website ran by a company, they have rights to the things that you post, period.
Right. They have legal rights to post it on the internet because you've asked them to, because you're using their site. So that's true. That's what all of those legal documents are that you agreed to,
that you didn't read.
The EULAs, the end user license agreement that no one reads. But you could feed it to an AI and have it tell you what's in it.
Maybe.
But one of the dangers is that the more we use AI and the more often it's right, the greater the temptation to stop checking. You can't ever stop checking the tool. You have to always double check it. Think of like people working like in a nuclear power plant. Every day the plant works fine. It's fine. Nothing goes wrong. And the temptation is to get complacent. Sure, everything's fine. I don't, that dial's probably fine. I don't have to go check it. It was fine the last 100 times I checked it. It's probably fine. And now you're working in Chernobyl. You can't let it. You can't stop doing the task that you have to do.
And one of the things is that there are more and more sophisticated medical specific AIs and LLMs, and but one of the key steps always done is there always has to be a signature, a doctor or someone in authority who reviews that and says, yes, that is true. Exactly. And that is always going to have to be an essential, no matter how far into the future that I can see.
Right.
We can never just fully trust it.
You always have to have
kind of like those auto driving things, like level 2 automation driving. It's like, I can trust my car to stay in the lane and stay a certain distance behind, but if something goes wrong, it's still me.
Yes.
That's responsible.
And legally, right? I think your car example is a great example, because legally, when I'm driving the car and I get in an accident and I rear end someone and I say, the computer didn't stop it, no court is going to find that correct, right? They're going to say, no, you did not stop your car.
Right. You're still responsible.
Right.
The machine
and
isn't
that's what
responsible.
Tesla says about their autopilot as well.
Right.
With all the examples we hear. I mean, we had one south of Kansas City where somebody slammed into the side of a semi.
Yep.
Their Tesla slammed in the side of the semi. So, yeah, it's ultimately, we're still responsible.
Interesting question. It's a side question. What happens if you're in a Waymo, which is a robo-taxi? You're the passenger. Who's responsible then? But that's a whole nother discussion. So the important thing is that we take responsibility, that we don't get complacent. Truth isn't just accuracy; it's fidelity to reality. We have to be aligned with reality. So using AI responsibly then thus requires humility. I might be wrong. Patience, because verification takes time. And courage to say, I don't know yet. Like, for example, when someone asks you and you go to AI and you're not sure about what it's giving you, I don't know yet. I can't figure. I need to double check. I need to keep checking. You can't just rush the process.
And one thing I would advise is that you check several different ones. I mean, I have, not because I'm crazy, but I have Gemini, and I've played with Grok. I've played with Microsoft Copilot because I got a 365 license. I play with, and these are just on the personal side. That doesn't even count the business side. Is they're going to give you different answers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can consolidate on a single answer. Not saying that even 4 of them in the room, that you don't put them in a room, but just for the sake of argument, you put 4 of them in a room, and if they all agree, does that mean they're still 100% correct? No.
Right.
But you're probably much likelier to get the best answer.
I'll give you
the same AI might give you this different answer when you ask it, right?
Well, that is very true. They program that in.
It's like the joke. It's like the joke of if you ask a rabbi a question, you'll get 3 different opinions, right?
Well, it might be this, but it might also be this. I have a real world example of this. Jimmy Aiken asked me to help him with translating a text, a Spanish theological text, a book, a big chapter from the book. And he couldn't, he actually had to ask the person who speaks Spanish to do it, and he hasn't heard from them. And it's a theological text, so it's kind of technical, even in the language. And so we're like, okay, let's try some of the AIs. And we tried ChatGPT. And even though I would tell it, don't summarize, I want a literal word for word, non-idiomatic translation. It would summarize. And I would give it to Jimmy, like, here, this is what it gave me. And he's like, no, I'm looking at it. That's a summary. That is not a word for word. Look how short the English is compared to the Spanish. And, and they also have very short-term memories often, like after a while, like because it was a long chapter, so I had to break it up, and after a while it would forget and it would start summarizing again. It was just so drive me crazy. So I switched to Claude, which has Claude Cowork has this ability to create this is a bit of a tangent, to create a document that it can refer to, a document on your computer that it can refer to as the basis for what it's doing, the task it's doing for you. So it keeps consulting that every time it does part of the task, which is great. And I've been doing the translations with that, and it's working. It's fine. In fact, as it summarizes each page, it has this like insights. So, well, this is interesting that theologically this, and this. I'm like, wow, I didn't even ask it to do that, and it's doing the summary. But yeah, if one tool doesn't work, go to another tool. There's enough tools out there that you could try different things. So I regularly use Claude, ChatGPT, and Perplexity. Those are the three I've been mainly using, just because I don't have time to try any more. But
I'll give one funny instance here of we have a strong Spanish community where I'm assigned, so I have to translate my homilies, and I know enough Spanish to do it, but I choose to use AI to get me started and all of that. I don't trust it, though. So I'm going through the translation that it gave me. And if I would have read this from the pulpit, there was something that I was saying that was very strongly worded of to stop certain actions and stuff. And it added a few adjectives that would have got me into the bishop's office very quickly. And I know my Spanish enough to know what those adjectives meant. I'll leave it to your imagination. But I saw it and I go, oh no.
Right, because you need to tell it, don't swear. Like it doesn't know that it's, I mean, you can tell it I'm writing a homily and translate it, but it's not smart enough. It's just, it thinks it's doing what you want. Oh, you want to sound very strongly worded and make a very strong point. So using curse words is a way to make a strong point. Well, sure is. Oh man, that's a funny one. So the big thing here is again, on a philosophical level, thinking like when you outsource your thinking, it weakens your moral formation, your spiritual formation. Discipleship as a Christian, it requires that we wrestle with ideas. It requires intellectual work on our part. And that includes wrestling with the information that we seek out in the world around us. We acquire, whether it's in our work or our personal life and that sort of thing. But I think it exercises a muscle in us for us to do that. So if you stop practicing judgment, using your judgment, you lose the capacity for good judgment. To have good judgment, you need to practice having good judgment. That's like all the virtues. You have to use the virtues to keep them. So,
well, and I'm concerned, and I think I've started hearing about studies where they test people who overuse it. And yeah, their cognitive skills diminish over time.
Right.
Even in a short amount of time. So it's one of those things of you got to be able to put it to the side and say, hey, I'm going to do original research, or I'm going to use maybe more traditional methods to do that. To me, it's like AI can be to use an old example, it's the Cliff Notes that a lot of us grew up with back in the 80s and 90s. And it's like, yeah, your teachers would bust you for it.
Yes.
And of course, we all know stories of being busted, of students being busted for it. I've heard personal stories myself. And it's just one of those things of, if you're always using it, you're seeing the world in a Cliff Notes version. And that is just not a great way to live. And it's not a way to practice excellence or to improve your cognitive abilities.
Right.
I can also see a danger of this replacing conscience. And let me give the examples of this. I've seen it happen quite a bit, that people will Google if something's a sin because they have some scrupulosity. And if you're someone who struggles with this, you know how that is. And often as a priest, when I have people in counsel for that, I'm very shy to say cold hard, no, that's wrong, no, that's right, for people in those situations, because of this very thing. I don't want them to lose their capacity for their conscience for themselves. Right.
Right.
And so when they start using Google to ask if something's a sin or not, and they start using AI to replace their own conscience, to give a certain of certainty to their own scrupulosity, it can get dangerous.
Right.
And so there's I would stay millions of miles away from asking moral questions of AI right now.
Yes, you can't be guaranteed of getting even a decent question. I mean, you might get a decent answer. You might not, and you can't. Those are more harder to verify to the point where you might as well just go to the source that you're going to verify it against in the beginning.
And I would say that one who finds an answer of something has not gained a moral certitude of that answer, as opposed to if I have a moral doubt of something and I go to the catechism and I read authoritatively what the church has said, I have a moral certitude to what I have read.
Right. Yeah. Even if the AI quoted the catechism, you still got to then go and check it because you may have made it up. So, yeah. So you may as well go to the catechism, ask it where in the catechism to look. That's a valid thing. Give me some pointers, but you still would have to go. And that's, where we're going to end this segment is, just to encourage you, don't ever cite AI directly. Have it bring you to the original sources. Right. Make it a brainstorming partner, not the authoritative source. This is like, not like the encyclopedia or a book out of the library or a study that you're citing. No one should ever cite AI. It should always bring you to the original source and build a habit of verifying what AI tells you. Don't, even on simple things, even on things, just make it a habit to verify it, to go through the steps that we gave you before and to say, is it true? Give me a source. What would critics say? That sort of thing. Get in a habit of verifying. And this is all part of the virtues. This builds up your virtues of prudence and being diligent, being honest. And I'll leave you the final question. Are you using AI to assist your thinking or to avoid thinking? And that's the fundamental thing we're having here. Don't avoid thinking. Don't outsource your thinking to the AI. All right. So that's where we'll leave this topic for now, and we'll move on to our next topic after I take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the secrets of technology, including Cindy M., Daniel C., Barrett H., Philip D., and James C. Their generous donations at GiveStarQuest.com make it possible for us to continue the secrets of technology and all the shows at StarQuest. And you can join them by visiting GiveStarQuest.com. So we got one headline. This is a Wired story, and I thought that was very interesting. I've noticed a trend lately of younger generations, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, whatever the latest gen is, the very young, getting more and more into nostalgic tech, nostalgic things. You've seen, I have my 13-year-old. She's wearing wired headphones now because she thinks it's cool. That sort of thing. Well, this story in Wired talks about there's a new product that a lot of kids, young kids, the single digits to the preteen are getting called the Tin Can. And it's a quote unquote landline phone. That it's actually a voice over IP phone, so it connects to your Wi-Fi, and they can make phone calls with it. They dial a number and it calls someone, and that's all it does. You don't text on it. In fact, there's two versions, and one version looks like a plastic tin can. The other version looks like the old Princess phone. Remember the Princess phone? I had one of those when I was a kid. It's there'll be a link in the show notes if you don't know what a Princess phone is.
Well, Dom, I still have one of those kind of phones. I'm looking at the one. It's the white one on the Tin Can website. Yes,
yeah,
we still have one. Rarely use it, but it's plugged in.
It's actually connected to a landline.
Well, yeah, I still have through my Google Fiber, I have Google Phone, and so it's plugged into that. So, I mean, I don't have all my UPSs set up since I've gotten Google Fiber so that I keep internet connectivity. So it dies if the internet dies anyway. So, but yes, I have one that looks a lot like that, at least from the outside.
So it's pretty interesting. It comes with an app that parents can use to limit the contacts, people they can call out or people can call in, that sort of thing. But it's really popular. They've sold instead over 100,000 units without much advertising, and kids love it. They just think it's the coolest thing to just make phone calls to people, which is kind of funny how we've come full circle. To the point where there's a certain generation among millennials and older Gen Zs where it's like, if you call them, like, what are you calling me for? Why didn't you just text and that sort of thing? They don't like phone calls. And now there's a generation coming up where they're like, calling is cool. It's kind of funny. But it's funny to think about how more and more old tech is becoming popular among kids and even other old things. I saw just today an article about how Gen Z is rediscovering malls, which is kind of funny.
Sorry, go ahead.
This is the thing. My students and my nieces and nephews have become obsessed with my little collections that I have, which makes me kind of feel good that all of a sudden my retro tech, it makes me like my nerdy hobby. Now I'm the cool guy.
Yeah.
But I love this. The anxiety of receiving a phone call that Gen Z had. And now we're now in Gen Alpha, right? So the kids who would be using this as the Alpha generation.
Right.
And the fact that this would be starting to get rid of that anxiety. There's an app that the parents can control and choose who the kids can contact. So there's still a control over it.
Right.
But there's also the control of a very low tech thing, a cord, right?
Yes.
That's an amazing.
It's plugged into the wall, and then it's got that little spiral cord that connects the handset to the base. And I remember when I was a kid, there was one phone in the house, centrally located, and when you had a call, you had to stand by that phone. Actually, it was by the bathroom, so if you wanted privacy, you had to go into the bathroom and close the door on the cord, and then someone would come along and bang on it. Get out of the bathroom! I need to use it. The days.
They need to add one feature to this in which the parent can hit a button in which it starts playing the AOL dial-up noises to kick the kid off the phone line.
Right. Or play the call waiting noise. So they get off. They say that the target age group, or the age group that really is connecting with this, is 5 to 13. So really in those years before most kids get their first regular cell phone, this is something they can use to call grandma, call your aunt, call each other, call their friends. I would love my kids to call when they were in this age group, to call the kid down the street and make a play date. To go, hey, do you want to go play? Just they're not on a phone with texting and apps and all that other stuff. They're making a call. Even if they were on the phone talking to each other for an hour, I'd be fine with that, because at least they're socializing with somebody in an incarnational way. I
saw an interview with the founder of this, and he mentioned actually that he buys these. He has one in grandma's house. So actually, grandma uses the same phone to pick up and call and speak with the grandkids. Right. And so there's a dual purpose here of a very cheap plan, right, in which grandma can have her landline phone again.
Right. And she doesn't have to go through mom and dad necessarily to, call mom's phone or dad's phone. Hopefully they're at home with the kids, and the parent has to hand over their phone to the kid to talk to them, or they have to do like FaceTime or whatever. This is just something grandma, granddad are used to, which is a phone that they talk into, and they can just talk to the kids, and they can call them directly because It's the kid's phone. I love it. So the phones themselves are $100. Calls to other tin can phones are free, but if you want to call other like friends and family, it's $10 a month. So they do say that in the article that there are some technical issues at times, like long pauses and dropped calls and some and other issues that you're going to get with anything connected to
VoIP.
that. Yeah, right, exactly. If anyone remembers the VoIP, those are the things that come along with it. But I love the effort and I love the idea, and I think it's something people should check out. Certainly. All right, so that's our headline. Check out. So we'll have a link to the Wired article about it, and also a link to the Tin Can Phone website. Now let's go to our picks of the week. Father, you're up first. What's your pick this week?
My pick this week is a nice website and app called Paper to Audio. And if you've ever used the paid app Speechify, this is very similar to that. They have a very generous free plan. What it does first, right? It takes your PDFs, Word documents, EPUBs, right? Your ebooks, and will convert it with AI into speech. And this is not like Microsoft Sam's voice, right? This is good,
high
sounds
quality.
like speech.
Yeah.
And I've done several books on this, and I have to read a lot and I drive a lot. And so this is great for me. And so I've been impressed. I don't have to go above the free plan for it. And yeah, especially if you have a large EPUB library of ebooks that don't have DRM on them. If they have protection on them, I'm not going to encourage you to remove protection or anything, but there's ways to do that.
Right.
You have to have open books to be able to do it. Right. They have a browser extension, all of that you can use. It's just...
the free plan gives you 56 hours of audio per week. I mean,
per week.
That's a lot of audio. So I can imagine, and no ads. There's no ads. It's free.
Yeah.
Free.
So if you think about it, usually a 200-page book is going to be about 10 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. So, just one of those a week, you a couple of those a week, you're good. That's awesome. That's good. I know some people who could use that, even maybe the paid version.
Unfortunately, it doesn't have a ton of different voices.
So you kind of stuck with whatever they got.
You get about 3 or 4 good voices. You can't have Samuel L. Jackson read to you like Speechify. Speechify's great, but I think they got too gimmicky with things.
Yeah. This is simple, straightforward. That's good. Excellent. Tom, what's your pick this week?
Well, Dom, like you, I have put AirTags in many different things. I even had one in my wallet, and it got to the point where it just had this bulge in my wallet. And
Yes.
I'm like, okay, this looks so obvious that I have one. And I decided, okay, and I was having problems with either with the AirTag or with the set of batteries I kept putting in there. My batteries would sometimes go dead in a month or so, and I'm thinking it is the batteries, but
It's
nevertheless,
very specific batteries for AirTags. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's like I order them on Amazon, and then they like don't last a year like they're supposed to. So,
Right.
And I've had that situation where it's like all of a sudden, Find My tells me it's dying. But instead, Apple is not the only one that makes technology for Find My. Other companies are allowed to license that and sell products for that. So one of the cool things that I had been wanting for a bit was a one that would be more like a tile card, or in this case, it's called the Ridge Wallet Tracker Card. And so it's AirTag compatible. It's the size of about a credit card. So it just goes into one of my slots in my wallet where I can put it in the credit card. And the cool thing is there is no replaceable battery. I mean, bad or good, it's no replaceable battery, but it's Qi compatible. So
wireless
the stand,
charging.
wireless charging. So the stand that I used, or that I was a former pick of the week, has a Qi charger for my AirPods Pro 2. And I just, when I got it, I was like, okay, well, I don't know how much charge there is. Let me charge it up and put it on there, and then come back an hour or so later and it's fully charged. And it's supposed to last at least a couple months, if not longer, before it has to be charged again. So in that case, it's not like, oh, low battery, I got to go dig out my supply of the CR batteries and replace it, and then put the old one in the recycle bag to eventually recycle. This is a much better solution. And also it doesn't create that bulge in my wallet. So
right.
That today is my pick of the week.
It's nice because it's so you don't need a Ridge wallet to use it. It's just a card.
Yeah, it's just it's about the size of a credit card.
Yep.
So it just goes into one of my slots for my credit card, and then it just shows up as another item in the Find My app. So
I had one from Pebblebee for a while, a card, and it looks thicker than this one looks. Certainly, in the pictures on the Amazon site that we'll share with you, it looks really thin. It also wasn't wireless charging, so those two things were issues with that one. This one looks a lot better. I might have to pick one of these up because it's water resistant rated. You can do proximity alerts, so if it moves too far from you, it notifies you, because often you leave my wallet in someplace I shouldn't leave it. So yeah, lots of nice things. Have you tested the ringer, the noise that it makes when you go to find it?
Yeah. I mean, I assume you don't want me to fire it off right now, but
is it plenty loud?
Yeah, I think it's plenty loud. I haven't had a reason to, other than, let's make a sound when I initially played with it.
Yeah.
I haven't had a reason to go do that. I mean, my wallet, generally, as I get older, I wondered why elderly people would always would complain if you move things around. Well, I'm getting to that age where it's like my wallet goes here, and that's like the dog's leash goes here. And so it's like, please, my daughter, don't move it.
Yeah, right. Where did it go? Yeah.
And so fortunately with these kind of tracker technologies, whether it's Android based or Google or Apple or the other one that used to be popular, Tile. Thank you. Yeah. That is a great thing as you get older.
Yep. Yes, definitely. Great. So my pick this week is kind of low tech, but if you're a person who is into tech, you will find that you often have lots of little different things that need to be sorted that all often seem very similar, like cables. You have USB-C cables with USB-A heads on them. You have USB to Lightning cables. You have Thunderbolt cables. You have thumb drives and SD cards and a million things that you really would like to have sorted and neatly kept. So what I'm going to tell you about is the Suni multi-size plastic zipper pouches. Now, the one I'm going to link to gives you 7 different sizes, from fairly small to like wallet size, or even smaller maybe, to very large. You can put, quite like a book or more in it. They are translucent. They are white with color on the edge to give you a kind of a differentiation by little colors, and they zip up, and they have little loops on the end that you could say hang them on a hook. And this is what I've done is I've gotten it, and you don't have to get this exact one I got. There's like 100 different variants on Amazon if you look. But this one I've gotten actually a couple of them, and I've been sorting things. So I have all of my cables of all my watch charging cables in one. And I have and then in my backpack or various travel bags, I have bags where I then bring, put together the kit of these are the cables that go with me when I'm going somewhere, when I'm going out with my laptop, or I'm traveling with my iPad or that sort of thing. These are great for that. They're inexpensive. And because I also have a label printer, I can print a label and stick it on there and know exactly what it is. And so now I have a hook board here in my office, and I've got all of these bags hanging on it, all with these cables. And so whenever I need a cable, whenever one of the kids needs a cable, because they're constantly losing or breaking cables, I should buy stock in anchor really at this point because I buy so many cables. They can come and they can get a new cable. So it's a nice low tech solution to a high tech problem.
Also, if your kids are stealing your cables, it's a lot harder for them to steal a cable to unzip a bag than steal a cable that you don't know where all your cables are. So you're never going to find out that they stole your cables.
Right. And yeah, all the cables littered across the desk and on the floor and all of the other places. Yeah.
But that beats my Ziploc solution because I've created these Ziplocs with all my different USB-Cs, all my lightnings that I still have, whether USB-A lightning, USB-C lightning. I still have a bag of micro USBs. So, and then a couple of weeks ago, I went through and I was like, okay, what are all the devices that we have left that still use lightning?
Right.
And micro USB. And it's like, and so, when we travel, it's like my daughter's iPhone is the last lightning, pretty much the last lightning phone or iPad that we still have.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a few micro USB devices still around. And of course, we still have some lightning devices as well that are just not necessarily phones and iPads.
The Ziploc bag is fine. I mean, it works, but the problem with it is there's no way to hang it on something. So it's got to lay on something or, go in a drawer or whatever. And then the Ziploc is, if you're putting, green beans in it, it's one thing, but, with cables and stuff, it's not the most secure close while a zipper is pretty substantial, like that's closed, that's zipped up.
Yeah.
And that loop, that little, you don't realize it, but wow, that is really useful to have on there to hang it off of stuff. And and because it's color coded, you can even, if you're really into that, you can use the color coding to denote different kinds of cables and things like that if you really want to go the next step. So that's my pick. And that's it from us this time. We would love to get your feedback on anything we talked about this time. Let us know by sending an email to technology@sqpn.com or visit the StarQuest Discord community at sqpn.com/discord. You'll find links from our discussion and our picks of the week on our show notes at starquest.fm/TEC336. And you can find previous episodes at sqpn.com/technology. Be sure to follow The Secrets of Tech. We're in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, your favorite podcast app, or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/StarQuestMedia, where when you get there, make sure to hit the bell to get notifications after you subscribe. And it really helps us a lot when you write a review of the show in Apple Podcasts or give a star rating wherever you can do that, and share the podcast with someone you think would benefit from the things we talk about. Until next time, Tom Grelinger, thank you for joining me and sharing the secrets of technology.
Thanks, Tom.
Father Joseph's son, thank you as well.
Until next time.
And once again, I'm Dom Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to the Secrets of Technology on StarQuest. Here's another show on the StarQuest network you're sure to enjoy. Let's Science. Find the show wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/science.